Welcome to today's Ag Markets Blast. It's Monday, the 13th of January. Sorry for being a touch late. It wasn't my fault this time. It was no one's fault, but it was Angie's. Let's wait for Angie to join. I'll tell you what I can do. I can probably do the legals whilst I'm waiting for Angie to turn up. If I can find it. There we go. Nothing discussed on this spaces session constitute trading or investment advice or infers any kind of endorsement by PIQ Global Limited, Trains PIQ or PIQ Suite, or indeed the affiliates, which, as you must know by now, is the awesome Angie Setzer and myself, Ryan Paisley. Where is she? I cannot see her. Let me just see if there's... Nope, not there. 1 sec. Anyone know any good jokes? Let me just find today's. I don't know where she is. Oh, let's turn off my squawk. Where is Angie? Let me just tell everyone it's live. Right, I don't know where she is. I can't see her online. No replies on there yet. Dun, dun, dun. Morning, Andrew. Morning, Carl. Afternoon, even. Well, I don't know where you are. There she is. Right. Invite co-host Angie. Oh, did that send? I don't know if that sent. Let's try that again. Invite to co-host. Right. The invitation should be making its way across the Atlantic. Hey,
the co-hostess with the mostest.
There you go, exactly that.
That's
happy
what
Monday.
We call it. Yeah, happy Monday to you. Sorry for the fashionably late entry.
Well, after Friday, I've got nothing to say. Like, I think you were over one.
I'm like, we are bad at this. Like, we set a time, but yeah, this morning was one of those mornings where, like, it takes a very talented person to wake up at 3:15 a.m. and still be late. You know what I mean? Like by 9 a.m. But I am that person, so you'll have to forgive me.
It was the same for me, because obviously for me, Fridays was at like 2:15, and I'd been up for about 8 hours at that point, and I still managed to be late. But yeah, anyway,
you gotta love it. So welcome to the week. I told you on Friday it was gonna get spicy. She got spicy, right? So are you ready? Did you do the legals, or should we do the legals
yes
first?
No, I've already done and dusted.
Badass. Let's rock and roll then.
Go.
So Friday's USDA report, for those of you that have been living under a rock here for the last 72 hours or so, was pretty bullish, you could say. Now, it's hard in soybeans to be like, 380 million bushel carry out, or a stocks to use ratio that is relatively lofty, or at least comfortable in soybeans, comparatively speaking. It's hard to say that it was bullish, but at the same time, the big USDA basically wiped out about 95 million bushels worth of soybean production month over month. And so that's a pretty big drop. And really, when it comes to soybeans, I think it changes more of the nuance when it comes to new crop than anything else. Simply because if you look at the balance sheet now, we take a 380, try to carry it forward into the new crop and trim the 2 million acres plus that traders say we're going to take off from soybeans. And all of a sudden, we're a sub 300 million bushel carry out. And so this idea that we're going to see this huge shift from corn, or away from beans into corn, because of the lower soybean price versus corn, maybe up in the air just in the bean side of things. But for now, like I said, 380 million bushels, not necessarily super bullish by any means, but a change in sentiment will come with that, in the sense that it's not overly burdensome. Corn, they came in kind of with a hacksaw, you could say, to the yields that traders weren't necessarily expecting. And I've been saying this for a while here, like that the late dryness, the last half August, basically from the last half of August through all of September into the first part of October, we saw record-setting dryness across the bulk of the Corn Belt. And, that really hasn't influenced the finish, matters, apparently. And the USDA agreed. And, one of the things that we did see with the yield numbers that were put together last fall is they're very, very survey driven. And so I would say that, for the most part, you probably had a lot of farmers that got out there, thought that the crop was going to be really phenomenal. It was still a record. Don't get us wrong. You know what I mean? But it just wasn't as large as what the USDA had projected in November. And it wasn't as large as what traders were anticipating. So basically the USDA came in, trimmed production by 270 some million bushels, had to reduce usage. A lot of people say they reduce feed. That's wrong. It's residual, and it is feed and residual that falls under that category. But, it's feed and residual. Residual is that sort of like, this corn may have existed, it may not have, and it's a sliding scale that's a function of production, basically. And so to see the USDA cut supply like we did, or cut production like we did, you're going to get a drop in residual. They also cut corn exports by about 25 million bushels, which may be valid, may not be. We need to watch what inspections look like as we move forward and some of these other things. But from an overall standpoint, in the end, corn carryout came in at 1.54 billion bushels. Stocks to use ratio is right around 10%. The last time we had a 10% stocks to use ratio, now I'm not saying we head this direction by any means, but the last time we had that, the average corn price was above $6. It's a historically tighter level, and it puts that much more emphasis on the South American crop production and all of these other things. And on top of that, I think it really shines a light on the fact that we don't have much in the way of available supplies around the world outside of what the U.S. has, really until we get the safrinha supply working its way into the pipeline here, July, August timeframe. Wheat, kind of a non-event, and then that'll be my last bullet point. Basically, the wheat numbers came in as expected for the most part. Planted acres were a little bit higher than expected. Weather was wide open last fall, and the prices were decent. So that's not a surprise at all to see this little bit of a bump in soft red wheat acreage versus what traders were expecting. Overall, though, kind of a non-event for wheat, really kind of waiting to see if we're going to work our way and bounce off from these contract lows that it keeps liking to set, and really just kind of rock and roll. I mean, from an overall standpoint, I would say that Friday's report changed the sentiment towards this market in a big way, and, possibly shifted us in the corn market from the idea of being, kind of entrenched in this bear market to more of a neutral bullish sort of stance, especially if we see a continuation of weather issues across Argentina and, any more planting delays for safrinha corn.
All to play for. Just a quick update from my side of the pond.
Yes.
So those aren't aware, for those just waking up, there was news over the weekend. It was confirmed on Friday that there's cases of, at least a case of foot and mouth in Germany. Now, this is severely restricted Germany's exports of meat and dairy outside of the EU. So this is obviously something to keep an eye on, because this starts spreading, we could see potentially export shutdowns for the whole of EU going out to space, say like markets like China, etc. So it is ag markets related, let's be honest.
Woo-hoo!
So
yeah,
on that. So, it's something to keep an eye on at this side of the pond. But yeah, cool.
Not the greatest news, but news nonetheless, right? So,
exactly.
As we look ahead today, we did get a sale to China announced yesterday from Friday, export sale, just a flash sale here this morning. Things have backed off from their overnight highs a little bit. The market just opened, so we get to share the market open instead. Normally we don't get to do this. Exactly. So you got corn up a couple right now. You've got beans up about 4.5, 5 cents on the March. You got wheat up about the same, 4.5, 5 cents. Kansas City wheat's up about a penny. Spring wheat's up about a penny. Crude's up. That's cool. The whole sanction thing is neat. I'm glad that we decided to put the toughest sanctions on. 3 years later? Is that where? Yeah. Everyone, but yeah, so now we pay attention to inspections. We'll get export inspections here later this morning. That'll be important to see corn inspections pick up, and then kind of see if we get a follow through in buying. I'm not surprised to see a bit of a sell off here as we come in this morning. The farmer's been an aggressive seller. The farmer's estimated to have over 60% of their old crop corn sold. And there were a lot of open orders in Friday that were triggered as well. And so it'll be interesting to see if the farmer selling continues. Obviously, once it's sold, it can't get sold again. So it has to dwindle. The rate's going to dwindle no matter what. And then the big question will be, do the speculators continue to pile in? And what does the end user do? Because things be different now than what we thought they were maybe Friday morning. So rock and roll.
And also, it it is a general risk off tone on the open this morning. Like we got the Nasdaq down, opened down
Yeah.
1.3%. The SPU, the S&P 500 opened down 0.8%. So the general tone, whatever asset you're trading, is risk off at the moment. So we'll see how the day plays out. And no doubt we'll give you an update of what's the news overnight for tomorrow and
On
everything else from
time,
tomorrow's show.
even. Yeah.
Cool. Well, potentially. Let's
Yeah.
not make a rod for
Yeah,
our own back.
Let's not promise too
maybe on
much.
time.
Good point.
Tune in around 9:15, 9:30, 9:45. We'll be around.
We'll be around. We're here. Whatever.
Right, guys. Thank you as always for tuning in. Thank you so much to Angie as always for being the hostess, the co-hostess with the mostess.
Yes.
And we'll catch you all tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.
See you later. Bye bye.